She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Feeling undervalued. Do we find our identity in our profession? Meaning our profession that happens outside of the home. Are we a society who puts high value on parents who don't parent, but that co-parent with a daycare, and mom is full-time working outside of the home? Do we have more value on that mother who chooses not to be in the home? And do we devalue the mother that is staying at home? It's an interesting question. Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. In the grand scope of success and really defining success, which is what you and I do together every single day of the week here on the Dani Johnson Show, the reason why we tackle this is because we live in a society, a modern day society, that has very different opinions than just the generation that's before me and even 2 generations ago. You know, things have changed with the times, and I'm not so sure if the changes are really what's beneficial to our society, to our future generations. I think you and I should have a discussion about this today, because there's some of us that have really been called to a high calling. In fact, the best success book ever written says it's the highest calling, and that's the calling of a mother. And yet some of us, because of what society has pressed on us, we have chosen to basically leave our post and put somebody else in that position on our behalf. And some of us have found ourselves working like dogs, even like slaves out there in the marketplace. And are we really making more money? Are we really making a difference? And are we doing what we really were designed to do? I'm not saying every single mother on the planet has to stay home with her children, but what I am saying is that there are some that they are absolutely called to that. And when we are living out somebody else's definition of success, we are unsuccessful. And our society is a powerful one, and it is a vocal one. And it is loud. Oh gosh, from all sorts of venues. We are hearing what a wife and a mother is supposed to be. And yet so much of it is the furthest away from the truth of what we were designed to be. I've done it both ways. I have 5 children and 7 grandchildren. Oh, I'm telling you, they are the cutest things. My 5 children raised from 27 down to 15, almost 16. It shocks me every day when I look inside of my house and I only have 2 men children. They're hairy, they're tall, they're built, they're strong, they're smart. They think circles around my husband and I. They're brilliant in so many ways, and they're the last 2 ones left in the house. Oh boy, what I would do to turn back the hands of time and have more children and slow back the time. Yeah, I said it. I wish I had 7 kids instead of 5, and I wish I could start tomorrow. It wouldn't be amazing if I had babies like tomorrow. Then I would actually secure that the next 15 years, or at least 12, because I feel like those first 12 years are really, really slow. And then after that, it goes so fast. 7 grandkids, ages 9 to 1. It all goes by so fast. And I remember the times where I was home full time and did nothing else, where I felt so devalued. I felt like the work that I was doing every day, right? The diapers, big celebration. Roma did not poop his pants today. Yippee! Oh gosh. It was grueling in the beginning. It really was. You know, baking homemade pies and bread every day and rolling out fresh pasta for those pasta meals to save a little bit of extra money. Not only that, it tastes so much better to make fresh pasta, and it's so much fun when you do it with your kids. But I just remember doing all that laundry. Oh gosh, the laundry. In fact, just last night, we were rearranging some things upstairs and getting ready for some guests that as the summertime, is here. We have, lots of family, lots of friends that come. And so we've moved some things around, made it more comfortable for the guests that are coming. And then I open up a closet and I find a basket I've been looking for a really long time. Yep, a basket. Filled with clothes that were too small, and somehow this basket has stayed in this closet, and I've been looking for this stupid basket for a year. Why I didn't think to look in the bathroom closet upstairs in a room I never go into is beyond me. But yes, there it was, and I pulled out the little boxer shorts that don't fit anybody anymore. They fit me though. Great pair of pajamas for me. Anyway, I just remember looking like, do these fit anybody anymore? Because I'm the one that does the laundry. The answer was, No. So, of course, I tried them on, and yes, they're my new pajamas. But anyway, I just remember looking at and holding these going, oh, gosh, I remember when, but at the same time, I also remember complaining during those years and feeling so devalued when I was just a full-time mother. So I think value has so much to do with how we see ourselves. We can't always allow society pressing against us to push out of us our desires, our deepest desires, so that we become something that we don't even want to be. That's lame. To work your whole life to be something you don't even want to be because someone has told you that that is success. Well, it's time to obliterate the status quo of success. And it's time to define it for you and to know for you, your giftings, your calling, your talents, your skills, your desires. You were designed for something amazing. And there is a people that you are surrounded by that you are called to. And those people need you. And sometimes those people are those little people that grow into bigger people, that sometimes you just want to throw their nose back in the corner again, even when they are adults. Sometimes they need it, and sometimes they need a spanking as adults. Unfortunately, you kind of lose your authority at that point, and you shouldn't be spanking your children at that age. However, thus is the life of a parent. Parenting is important. It really is so important that I went through the pain and grueling and horrific time of writing this book, Grooming the Next Generation for Success, for somebody that, I didn't read my first book till I was 21. To be writing books is crazy. But I remember when I wrote this, Grooming the Next Generation for Success, I remember being so passionate about the contents that were in it and being so very blessed with the things that I had learned while my kids were still little. I wrote this book while my kids were still little, and some of them were turning into teenagers and starting to date, God forbid. Sort of. I have a different stance on dating. But anyway, I was so passionate about this conversation happening, especially amongst our clients, because I'm primarily a business and finance expert. I'm not a parenting expert by any stretch of the imagination, but relationship is such a part of business and finance, and what happens in the home really translates to what happens at work. And when things are not going well or swell at home, it really can corrupt things that happen at work, and we're not as productive as we could or should be, and we certainly are not emotionally as strong as we could or should be. That's why it's important to have balance in both places. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, because your success really is highly determined by the relationships that you have in your personal life. They really, really are. As much as we want to run away from those relationships, you cannot. You got to fix what's happening in the home first before we can move forward. And one of the things that have to be fixed in the home is how we see ourselves as parents, because that really determines how we parent. So do you feel like you are devalued by being home with your children? Do you feel and identify with what society is saying that, you're kind of lesser than if you're not working, full time at some kind of a job or a business or whatever? Joining me right now is Christina Tipperson from Cleveland, Ohio. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Dani.
Hi. So what about you? How do you feel? I mean, do you find that you feel devalued as a mom, or talk to me?
Well, when I was growing up, my mother, she had three girls. I was one of them, and she stayed home with us until we were old enough to go to kindergarten, first grade. It was very valued in my family growing up. Mm-hmm. But in my marriage, we have a son. He's now about 26 months. In my marriage, I found that, not everybody felt that way. And I know my husband felt that full-time daycare was the norm, that it was just as good, if not better, for the child, for social development or what have you. And, I ended up feeling like, he thought that I should be in work, that was a more valuable expenditure of my time. And so I really wanted to be with my son, but at the end of the day, I knew that my husband thought I'd be better served, in a job, in an office environment. And that made me feel really undervalued, because I truly think that the one-on-one care he gets with me, my son, is worth something.
Yes.
And, the energy I put into keeping our household running smoothly, it's been my heart and soul for 2 years, so that was very difficult for me to feel from him and from myself to some degree.
Christina, did you ever sit down with your husband and explain to him what you were feeling?
I did, and we went to see our pastor, actually, just for a little counseling. Our pastor and his wife on this issue. And, it really kind of surprised me what came out when we were talking to our pastor. The pastor asked, is it a financial issue that she needs to work for your finances? And my husband responded with, no, it's not so much that, but I like the house done a certain way, and I figure if she works, I can pay someone to do it just the way I like it. And I remember feeling so hurt by that. I feel like as a society, we have a tendency to criticize the performance of mothers, and homemakers, when the breadwinner, I don't think, would be happy at all to have their spouse criticizing their work performance and saying where they weren't measuring up,
Wow.
I think that's, not as acceptable in reverse. But,
Wow.
we really did. I did talk to my husband, and I think God worked on his heart because he did accept that it was important to me, and our son benefits from me being there.
Yes.
So, it just took a lot. It took a lot of prayer and a lot of counseling, and I think we got on the same page. But it was very difficult.
Wow. That is really hurtful. That really, really is hurtful that he felt he had more power over someone he could pay to do the house that he wanted nicer versus, let's say, whatever your standard would be, which did he even know what your standard was?
No, I certainly remember when I, moved into our home right after we got married. I thought, well, for someone with these high standards, it doesn't look like it's, doesn't look like much has been done here. But bachelors.
Yeah.
But actually, as painful as that was, it was a really good lesson to me that maybe I'm not the best at listening to what my husband tells me is important to him.
Right.
I have my own standards around the house, but one of the benefits of being home is that I really do have time. If it's important to him that the lamps are dusted a certain way, so be it.
Amen.
I think that's one of the things I can do to show I'm grateful.
Amen.
To be able to stay at home.
See, and this is the right attitude. This is the right attitude right there, Christina, and that shows that you have maturity and you're qualified as a wife. Because that's it. We actually can create an environment for our husbands that is detrimental to his earning potential and detrimental to his life, or we can create an environment that helps to serve him in such a way that it's a sanctuary. He doesn't have to worry about the dust that's on the lamps. He doesn't have to worry about the dust that's on the drapes. He doesn't have to worry about things being out of place, but instead he can rest. He could be at peace and enjoy his wife and his son. And so this is the right attitude that you have. And I'm really, really proud of you for having that kind of maturity and seeing the value in being that woman. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org. The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
What's holding you back from the life you wish you could have? Is it your job, your spouse, your upbringing, your skin color, your education, your economy? If you answered yes to any of these, you need to listen carefully right now.
CEOs of the corporate household. Is that how you see yourself if you're a stay-at-home parent? Or is this a lazy job that you can pay somebody else $18 an hour to do? You know, we live in a kind of a crazy society. Even there's so much confusion in places that we think that there would not be confusion. You know, places like the church. But yet, there's a lot of opinions that fly around. Is it best for mom to raise the children and to care for the home? Or is it better to pay someone else to do both of those jobs and have mom working outside of the home? I know for me that when I first got into business, I obviously didn't have children. And when I had my daughter, this brought me to a place of, I couldn't believe it. I changed. Like, it was instant. Before I had her through my whole pregnancy, and I was a single mom. So as soon as I got pregnant, I went, oh my gosh, I've got, 8 more months to figure out how to provide for this child. And I want to take at least a year off. So I need to store up a whole lot of money in the bank so that I can provide for myself and for this baby. And what if I want to take even more time off? But that's how I saw it. I had set that goal to have a year off, and I was a business person, and I was very young, and I didn't have anybody else to depend on, and I didn't have insurance. So I knew I'd have to pay for the whole birth, all of the appointments, all of that kind of stuff. And that was a good thing for me to have to figure out. But as soon as I had her, guess what? I just wanted to be home. I wanted to be home. I did not want to go back to work. There was nothing in me that wanted to be away from my child, even after the first year had came and went. Something in me wanted to be with her. And then I swallowed an absolute stupid pill. I got embezzled after her first year. And in fact, it was in the second year of her life. And I went back to work, and I went back to work 5 to 6 days a week, 16 to 18 hours a day. And it about killed me. And I had a second child in that time period as well. Now I had gotten married. I almost ended up divorced, and I did not know my children. And I had paid someone else to raise my child and my children. And here I would get up in the morning, and it was early, and they were still sleeping. And then by the time I got home at night, they were already sleeping. It was there's not a word. There's just not a word to describe the pain and the guilt and the shame and the brokenness that I had, as well as the split heart that I had. Now look, why was I working 16 to 18 hours a day? You see, I got into my head, even though I made my first million working part-time. Now, I have so much responsibility, and I got it into my head that the harder that I would work, the faster the problem would be solved. But the faster the problem didn't get solved. Not only did the problem not get solved fast, but friend, guess what else? I actually was wasting 80 hours a week. You might say, Dani, how are you wasting 80 hours a week? Because I ended up with a nervous breakdown and a heart attack in those next 2 years. And by the time I was 25. I had a big decision to make. And I came to a place where I don't care. I don't care if I go broke. I don't care if I lose everything. I don't care if I lose my house. I don't care if I lose my car. I don't care if I lose my business. I really don't care. It's not worth it. I just want to be home with my babies. I want to have a life, and this is not a life worth living for. I cut my hours back by 80 hours. So I started working 20 hours a week, friend. Major leap of faith. When you just don't care anymore and you just fully surrender, you say, I don't care. What am I working for? Houses and cars and stuff and status is so stupid. It's not worth it. It is not fulfilling. When I hold my 2 babies, now that is fulfilling. When I kiss their little faces and my nose up against their little tiny nose, when I hear them breathing as they're sleeping on my chest, when I hear them call my name, Mommy, Mommy, that brings something that my phone ringing doesn't bring, that my bank account doesn't bring. So I took that leap of faith, and we tripled my income. I tripled my income on 20 hours a week. So found that I was wasting 80 hours. I worked through breakfast. I worked through lunch. I worked through dinner. I skipped meals throughout the day. I was constantly running, thinking that if I ate through lunch, if I eat through dinner, if I skip breakfast, that somehow that's going to give me a little bit of extra time. And come to find out that my brain was so frazzled, I couldn't see straight, I couldn't think straight, and it took me more time to get the same task done. Not only that, I found that there was no trust. I had no trust in the God that I served to line things up, that I'm bringing the work I'm bringing, and I'm also taking care of myself, and I'm taking care of my body. God, you got to take care of the rest. And he did. He shored up those 80 hours and he multiplied my time. He multiplied my productivity. He made things happen that normally would not happen for me if I was the one in the constant driver's seat and I have to make this happen. If I don't, no one else will. And if I don't, then I'm going to get behind. I refuse to live that way today. And it's shocking to me how many people still choose to live under that pressure of performance. This is Dani Johnson. We're going to continue with more right after this.
Go to DaniJohnson.com to find out about our next live event, First Steps to Success in Orlando, Florida.
And I'm so blessed that I found what is in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. This is a book that is being taught in universities around the world. It's been noted as the best book on parenting that has ever been written. Crazy, if you ask me. But the point is that this thing gets results. Get your copy today, 888-757-8880. Again, that's 888-757-8880. Or go to DaniJohnson.com. That's DANI Johnson.com. Get your copy today.
The media is like a carnival of loud voices, all barking about their big ideas. It's time to shut off the big ideas and get some big results. And this lady knows how to get results.
Dani, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and yet I feel so insignificant. Is this you? How you feel about what you do determines the level of performance in which you produce. So the fact is that if we feel insignificant, I promise you, it isn't the work that you're doing. It's a feeling that you're entertaining and something that you're bringing upon yourself, which is obviously changing their level of performance, and you're not finding satisfaction in the work in which you're doing. You see, whether you work from home or you work out of the home, the bottom line is, my friend, how you look at it, how you see it, determines whether or not you're going to find joy or peace or harmony in it. Feeling insignificant about anything is just going to produce insignificant results. We do have a society pressing on us saying that if you do stay home with your kids, then you are insignificant. I beg to differ, my friend. We've got Ray J. Oyaki from Pasadena, California. I hope I didn't mess that name up too bad.
It's Raja.
Raja, hi. It's a gorgeous name.
That's okay.
So what about you? How do you feel as far as being a mom in the grand scope of things with the society that we live in today?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay. Wow. I'm just trying to shift my mindset, but for the longest time, pretty much since 2005, I became, I started to stay at home, and I think in a nutshell, I struggled a lot with discontentment, and I didn't see it in the beginning, and I didn't have a lot of help. I ended up I have two girls, and they're 2 years apart. So in 2005, I had my first one, and then in 2007, had my other one. But then years down the line, I started to see that I wasn't really fulfilled or feeling fulfilled.
Yep.
And I'm still at home. My kids do go to school during the day, though they're on spring break this week. So hopefully I won't have any interruptions, but I told them I'm on the phone.
Raja, I have a question for you. What were you doing before you had your first child in 2005?
I got married in end of 2002, and then I just started working for Japanese companies.
Okay.
Like a media company.
Okay, so Raja, let me ask you a question. Would you actually get dressed, take a shower, put some makeup on, and head to work and show up on time?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like an 8 to 5.
Okay, so you had an 8 to 5, and you had a certain lunch break that was planned, and you had specific tasks that you needed to do and people that you needed to report to, right? And so you found significance in those things, that you got dressed, you put some makeup on, you drove to work, you had met certain appointments, you met certain tasks, and you answered to people.
No, I didn't. It's more of who I am now. I've always wanted to be more entrepreneurial. So I didn't
back up.
necessarily...
No, time out. We're going to get to the root of the issue of the insignificance is what I'm getting at.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that here you were getting up, taking a shower, getting yourself ready, planning out your day, answering other people, had these tasks, right? Then all of a sudden you come home to give birth to a child, and now you don't feel significant.
Yes.
You just gave birth to the next generation of your bloodline.
Right.
And you feel insignificant. Why? Where did you find and where are you still finding your significance?
Right. So a lot of it is my family views. Like, especially my grandfather, he always valued college education, and I did that. And I think in myself, I'm very ambitious, like more selfishly ambitious, or I was that way. But I found as I was entering into motherhood, the way society treated me, except on Mother's Day, that was the only time I felt recognized.
But let me ask you a question, Raja. Let me ask you a question. Did you approach motherhood with the same diligence, with the same excellence, with the same task-oriented, scheduled get dressed, look good, be beautiful, and take care of all of the tasks and responsibility you have because you do answer to somebody?
Did I do it like that?
Uh-huh.
No.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. So tell me, did you approach motherhood from these sweats, messy bun?
Yes. But my husband asked me to stop wearing the college sweats. So
Thank God.
I did stop that because I would wear my alma mater sweater all the time that I wore in college, and he's like, no, that's not going to work. So I did stop that, but I did the yoga pants.
But do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Why is it that women in the 21st century do not approach motherhood the way that they did in the 50s, the way they did in the 40s, the way that they did in the 20s? Do you know what the women looked like who were homemakers in that season of life?
I know. My grandmother was like that, and she was very feminine with dresses, very...
her hair curled.
Perfume.
Lipstick.
Yes.
Perfume. Scheduled. Timely. Finished tasks. Husband comes home. She looks like a hot babe. She doesn't look like she's been sweating, changing diapers, and cleaning up throw up all day.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Now look, this goes to show me, I found in the best success book ever written that it says this, Solomon denied himself nothing. He had 1,000 wives. Hello. He had lots of wealth, the richest man that ever walked the earth. He was the most powerful man on the earth at that time. And he says at the end of his life, I denied myself nothing. I gave myself every pleasure that any human would ever desire. And I came to this one conclusion. It was meaningless. All a human has in their meaningless life that they live is to eat and drink and find satisfaction in his work. When I saw that, I was complaining about my life. I was sitting in my dream house, okay? Look at what an arrogant little brat, spoiled, rotten pig I was. I'm sitting in my dream house. I'm on my porch that has, it's a wraparound old Victorian house, and it's yellow with all the white trim. It's on 10 acres with a pool and a swimming pool and a diving board and a slide for the kids and a tennis court and a basketball court and a 1,400 square foot guest house, and with the views of the backside of Yosemite National Park on top of the mountain. We are the family on top of the mountain, and I'm 30 years old. And I am complaining about how much work I have to do. And I was so dissatisfied with my career at the time. I was only working 20 hours a week, and I was so dissatisfied with that. And I'm just happened to be reading, again, I'm on the porch. It's a beautiful spring, gorgeous sunny day. The birds are singing. The flowers are blooming. Oh, such a beautiful thing. And I'm complaining. And I see that. Find satisfaction in your work. It didn't say find work that was satisfying. It said find satisfaction in your work. Isn't that amazing? And so look at this. I believe that the way that we have seen motherhood portrayed to us in today's world has hurt us greatly. Because where do we see excellence and diligence in the home? Where do we see in today's society of the mothers where they take their most important job on the planet that they will ever do, that they take it seriously?
Yeah.
That they're planned, that they're cultured women, that they look beautiful for their husbands, that they look beautiful for their children, that the house is professionally done, and that the meals are planned and the money is saved. And she even learns how to become an investor. And on the side, she can even have a small little business where she's buying and selling or trading and doing things that we see in Proverbs 31. The Proverbs 31 woman, I vastly don't see anymore. Right. But the women in the 50s, those were those women. In the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s, like you said, your grandmother, yeah, she used to look like that, perfumed. She smells good. She looks good. Her legs are shaved. Daddy, it's wintertime. I don't shave my legs. Well, hello? What are you doing, freeloader? You're there to be presentable to the man that is providing for your needs, right? And this is how women think. I'm so happy that your husband said, get rid of the college sweatshirt. You are holding on to where you found significance, Raja. Mm-hmm. That's where you found significance in what other people said was significant.
Right.
But in all reality,
thinking about what other people think.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. But part of it is because look at how women are today as homemakers and mothers. Mm. Look at them. Are they dressed?
No.
No. Showered? Generally not.
Yeah.
The house is in disarray. Dinner is late. Things are a mess. Kids are out of control. We got to do something about that. Our society has tricked us into laziness by calling motherhood insignificant so that society could make more money from mom working outside of the home. Daycares would make more money. It would stimulate economy. There'd be more taxes collected if we get the women out of the house. If we put the women to work, then we're going to make more money, i.e. our government. Let's teach them to burn their bras. They're equal with the men, and bam. We're going to double our taxes. Woo! We're going to stimulate economy because now she's got to buy business suits in order to go to work. Now they need another car. Now she needs to buy expensive this, that, and the other thing because it's required for her to wear all that when she's at the office. Incredible little scam, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That has hurt our generation. It completely hurt our generation. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Stay right here for more of the Dani Johnson Show.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Sometimes I want to just grab whoever the society is. I want to line them up and shake them going, do you realize what kind of putrid things you are putting in the minds of the men, women, and children on the earth today? You're setting them up for failure. I just want to smack them. I want to know who they are so I can find them and go, I want to give you a piece of my mind. You know, when I see mothers who've gone from their professional life to their home life because society has put down on motherhood that they don't feel significant. Therefore, they look at their job as insignificant. Therefore, they produce insignificant results, which is spending a bunch of money that doesn't need to be spent. We're supposed to be the investors in the household. We're supposed to be the ones helping to save money so that we can be planning for the future. But instead, we are the chief spenders in the house, blowing money like crazy, trying to find significance in shopping, trying to find significance in clothes or eating out or having tea with our friend when our house is a disaster. Instead of going and getting the help that we need, the coaching, the counseling that we need, so we can be better women, better mothers, better wives, instead we bury ourselves in the stupid television shows that are talking about gossip and stupid things. You got a calling on your life, and if you are a mother, you are called to your children. I don't care if you think you're called to ministry or to being an entrepreneur, great. Then raise up your children to be entrepreneurs. Raise up your children to be those ministers. You're ministering to them, and you got to teach them what you think you're supposed to do. Practice on the kids. Start with lemonade stands. Starts with buying and selling things. Do it as a family. This is part of the financial education you're supposed to be putting into the next generation. And if you feel like, oh, Dani, I'm called to ministry, great. Then you better start ministering door to door maybe with your children, showing them that part, because you're supposed to impart into them some type of ministry, whether it's taking in the old lady's trash out. That would be me. If it is taking care of the poor, raising money through the neighborhood to help our project, for example, in Nicaragua, Santa Pancha, where people don't have homes in this area. They don't have water. They don't have food. They have nothing. So part of the mother's job is to educate her children in being well-rounded and not being greedy, selfish, pompous, gluttonous, pride-filled pigs who are arrogant and constantly complaining that they don't have what their friend has. Turn their heart and their mind and shepherd them into being responsible adults who take a portion of everything that they made and they take care of the poor. We are supposed to shepherd our children like that, not be lazy, full of, Facebook posts that are talking about what you're eating for lunch. Give me a break. But that you're doing something purposeful. Yes, teaching them financial skills, entrepreneurial skills, and those entrepreneurial skills of what are you supposed to do with the money? Hello? Take a portion of it and take care of those who are in need. Take a portion of it and plan for the future. Put it away. Create a savings account. Don't blow every dollar you make on something stupid, but begin to plan. And as you're practicing those financial skills, you're imparting those financial skills into your kids. A mother's job, significant, hugely significant, enormously significant. We're supposed to teach our kids to organize, to think, to solve problems, conflict resolution, because they're going to have conflicts in their marriage. They're going to have conflicts in business or in their careers. They're going to have conflicts in life. And our job is to impart into them the proper people skills that they're going to have to use for the rest of their lives. A mom's job is hugely, hugely significant. Don't listen to society. Their definition of success is nothing but a bunch of failures. Nothing but a bunch of lying, cheating, and stealing. It's lying and cheating at not being who you were called to be. It's not rising up and being what you were designed to be, purposed to be. But instead living a facade of what someone else says is success. It's a big lie. Trust me, I lived it. It was a mess. Disgusting. We got Joni Snaith from Canada on the line. Sorry, I got really passionate on that little rant and roll, but girl, what say you concerning the significance of a mother? Or do you feel insignificant as a mother?
Hi, Dani. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
First of all, I feel so significant as a mother. I have 2 kids. I kind of raised 5 other kids as well. I take care of other people's kids. Nice. And I used to feel very insignificant about it, but now I almost feel bad that I'm robbing those parents of that time with their own kids, because it's a huge role, and I value it so much. I think for me, I've learned so much. I've been plugging into your training for a little while now, and one of the things that I caught, I took a hold of your time secrets training, and for me that was huge. Just really learning how to balance everything, and getting my priorities straight, especially my husband, and kind of putting him first, because I tended to put
the kids first
all the time. And once I got that lined up, I also have a business as well, so I would sometimes feel guilty that I was not spending the time that my kids quote unquote needed. And but once I figured out how to balance that, and I'm still working on it, but it's just been so much smoother.
Yep. Priorities are huge for a mother to learn how to work. It takes a grace and a finesse and kind of a dance to move and change all these different roles. We change roles from 1 minute to the next, and then 3 hours later we're in a different role. And that has to be done very diligently as well as flexibly. And oftentimes we just forget about a lot of things. We're like, forget it, I can't get any of it done, so I'm not going to do anything. But time secrets, oh gosh, man, it was such an answer for me to make decisions based on priorities instead of emotions, and using wisdom of what's the priority. My husband is the number one physical priority in my life. I can't spend 100% of my time with my kids and deny him what he needs. What he signed up for was a wife, which was a lover, somebody that would entice him into the bedroom for some fun and not be thinking about the kids while she's supposed to be just thinking about him. These other needs that he may have that we've got to put his priority as the first, physical, and the kids then fall after. But most marriages, unfortunately, do it the opposite. The kid is the number one priority, the kid rules the house, and the world centers around them, and then they have all kinds of nasty problems as a direct result. Joni, congratulations. You know your role in life, and you are growing personally as a woman to make sure you do that job even better. Lois Mueller from Toronto, Canada. Canada's in the house. What about you, Lois? Do you feel insignificant or significant?
Oh, I do feel very significant as a mother. I see the importance of it. I see the value in it. My mother always worked, and I missed out on having my mom there. I didn't get to spend time playing with her or having her teach me how to keep house or bake or cook or any of that.
Wow.
And I love doing that for my family.
Yep.
I feel not valued by my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been a tough thing for me to deal with. I want to homeschool my kids, and so therefore that needs to be provided for financially.
Yep.
And that's not being done. And so I'm having to go work.
Yep.
And it breaks my heart because
Yep.
I know my kids need me.
Yes, they do. You know what, Lois? This is something that you're going to have to work through. We had at the very beginning of the show a woman who had that same exact thing, that same exact desire. And through prayer and good communication and counseling, she was able to now see the decision tipped in the direction that she wanted. God doesn't want to put it in your heart to homeschool those kids. He's going to make a way. But feeling unvalued by your husband causes you to treat your husband not of the best value. I did that with my husband. If I didn't get my way, well, I held back on some things. Not consciously, but subconsciously. And I would treat him according to how I felt he was treating me, and I would deny him the way I thought he was denying me. This is Dani Johnson. We're going to continue right after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
For families in Santa Pancha, Nicaragua, life is filled with fear and struggle. They don't have enough food for their kids, clean water is hard to find, and they're living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel on top of mining tunnels that could explode and sink at any moment. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming this village. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha to see how you can help. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org, and click on Santa Pancha. This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Helping you become all you were meant to be. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
It's important for us to have success in the home as well as success out of the home. And when you have a desire that's like so big and all-consuming, kind of like this desire that I had of wanting more children after my son Cabe was born, and my husband was adamant, no way. And man, I used to fight him. I would, and man, I would say some terrible, terrible things, somehow thinking that that would turn him and make him want to have more children. But he was dead set. One day he said this to me, Dani, why don't you go talk to your God if you feel like you're supposed to have more kids? I was like, brilliant idea. And I did. And I asked God, I said, you're the one who planted this desire in me to want this. And he doesn't. You're going to have to change either one of our hearts. Either I misinterpreted or he has misinterpreted. So please either soften the desire that's in my heart because it's killing me, or plant the seed in his heart. Okay, I never brought it up again. 2 months later, my husband came to me and said, I think we should have 2 more kids. I only wanted 1 more. Those 2 are Roman and Micah. So what changed? I stopped manipulating and pressuring and pushing. I stopped looking for every opportunity to try to get my little dig in there. If we honor and respect our spouse and we go to his boss, let the boss take care of moving his heart, because you can't move your husband's heart. Only God can move your husband's heart. And it's through our gracious conduct, through our love, through our respect, also looking for other things that we can help to find ways. For example, in this situation with Lois wanting to homeschool her kids, but her husband's talking about the finances of it. There's other ways to save money. There's other ways to make dollars go in the right direction. And so when we start doing that, maybe it's paying off debt. Maybe it's saving money and creating that savings account because, hey, it's based on what we don't spend, causes more money to be in the bank account. So there's other ways to get things to happen, but one way for sure, honor and respect is a sure way to make things happen in the right direction. And I guarantee hole in one, talk to his God, talk to his boss. So here's the bottom line. Success in the home has to be based on how we perceive it, how we see it, and what we value. That then produces out of us results. Results. That's at the end of the day what matters is the result that we are producing. How we see it determines what the result that we're going to produce. Excellence and diligence in the home or out of the home. We got to have it if we plan on being successful. One of the things I mentioned earlier, one of our jobs as parents is to make sure we don't raise greedy kids who are pompous and arrogant and all about themselves and the world revolving around them. One of the ways to do that is to teach them to take care of the poor, something that we have taught our children. We've had them around the orphan. We've had them around the extreme poor. We've had them around the homeless. Take part in this project that a lot of us are working on with our families, with our children, with our grandchildren, where we have them working on helping to build 1,000 homes for the extreme poor in Nicaragua. The extreme poor. They don't have a house. They don't have water. They don't have food. So we're going to build a house. It only costs $5,200 to build them a home. It only costs that much. Not only that, we're going to put them in business and give the kids and the adults education so they can break free from the cycle of poverty forever. We are going to be about changing generations. And that's something your children should be involved in. For more information on that, go to kingsransom.org. Again, that's kingsransom.org. And do what you can. Give what you can. Get the kids to give what they can. That's it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless you. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Talk to you tomorrow.
This has been the Dani Johnson Show. If you want to hear more, visit us at DaniJohnson.com.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.